Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to MTSN 7 News. With me, Ahmad Rafif, bringing you the latest news for today. A Colorado rescue team has some simple advice for lost hikers or anyone else who might find themselves stranded in the mountains. Answer your phone. Lake County Search and Rescue says it got a report last week that a hiker hadn't returned from a hike on Mount Elbert. The hiker had set out at 9 a.m. on October 18 and wasn't back at 8 p.m. Rescuers tried to call the person's cell phone multiple times, but weren't able to reach them. 5 LCSAR team members look for the hikers in areas where people tend to get lost, but called off the search at 3 a.m. A three-person search team checked another area at 7 a.m. They got a call at about 9:30 a.m. that the hiker, who was not identified, had returned to where they were staying. One notable takeaway is that the subject ignored repeated phone calls from us because they didn't recognize the number. LSEAR wrote, if you're overdue according to your itinerary and you start getting repeated calls from an unknown number, please answer the phone. It may be SAR team trying to confirm you're safe. Well, that's all the news for today. For more information, you can check at our website at edition.cnn.com. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Oke. Pronunciation-nya cek lagi ya, latihan lagi pronunciation-nya. Oke, lanjut, next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. With me, Airi Rashisa, I'm bringing you to the latest top news for today. Moldova. Russia threatens gas supply in Europe's poorest state. On Monday, our country made history. Moldova's foreign minister tells me, for the first time, Moldova broadcast from a source that was not Russia's Gazprom. The gas shipment from Poland's PGNiG was 1 million cubic meters. Moldova will need much larger volumes if Gazprom does what it has threatened to do, turn off the gas taps. Up till now, 100% of Moldova's gas has come from Russia, but the contract to supply it expired at the end of September. Gazprom raised the price and Moldova balked at paying it. In the absence of a new deal, the Russian energy giant reduced supplies, prompting Moldova to declare a 30-day state of emergency. Gazprom accused Moldova of provoking a crisis and demand repayment of the $709 gap, which Moldova disputes. Negotiations continue. Moldovan officials say they would like to sign a new contract with Gazprom, but only if the terms are favorable. If there is no deal with Russia, will Moldova, one of Europe's poorest countries, buy enough gas as elsewhere? It's the worst time to have a gas crisis at home, the Popescu admits. The prices are higher than ever. We see this market crunch on a global scale, but we've had support. In recent years, Romania built a new gas pipeline into Moldova, which gave us a safety valve. We've also had some advice from the European Union on how to diversify a country's gas supply within a few days. Well, that's the news for today. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good. Practice your pronunciation, yes. Okay, next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. I'm Aisha Mutmaina, and you are with me in MTSN 7 News. We bring several information that happening during this week, and here are the top highlights. DKI Jakarta Transportation Agency and the Traffic Directorate of Polda Metro Jaya apply odd even policy. The odd even policy was expanded from 2 areas to 13 areas. Starting Monday, October 25th, Only cars without plates will be allowed to pass through 13 areas on the road. So for even plate cars, it is recommended to look for other alternative routes. The odd even policy is enforced for 2 seasons starting 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. Western Indonesian time and 4 p.m. until 9 p.m. Western Indonesian time. This policy applies every Monday until Friday. The policy does not apply on Saturday and Sunday. For your information, if during the implementation of the odd even rule, officers also exclude as many as 17 special vehicles that on still pass. For example, vehicles that carry people with disabilities, then emergency vehicles such as ambulance and fire engines. The Director of Traffic of the Polda Metro Jaya explained that the sanction for odd even violators were divided into 2 types. Violators at the 3 points Sudirman Street, MH Tamrin Street, and Rasuna Said Street were given a ticket. Meanwhile, odd even violators on 10 areas or expansion areas are given a sanction in the form of warning. They understand that there are still many people who don't know about the odd even expansion in Jakarta. So it is the socialist for the next 3 days. He said violators were still stopped, but they report that the implementation of the odd even policy in 13 regions were generally good, although sometimes violations were reprimanded by members in the field. That's all the news for today. Check this out at mtsn7.com for the latest update. I'm Aisyah Mutmainah. Thank you for watching and having a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. Yes, good. Let's practice ya. Next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to MTSN 7 News. With me, Diandra, bringing you the latest news today. A fire broke out on Saturday on containers on a cargo ship carrying mining and chemicals of British Columbia, and the Canadian Coast Guard said it is working with the U.S. Coast Guard to assess the situation, including environmental hazard. 16 crew members have been evacuated from the MV Jim Kingston, while 5 remained on board to fight the fire, the Canadian Coast Guard said in a statement late on Saturday. 10 containers were currently burning, it said, adding the fire continued to spread, but the ship itself was not on fire. The agency said it is working with its U.S. counterpart to track 40 containers that had fallen overboard, saying they pose a significant risk to mariners. Marines are advised to stay clear of the area. Currently, there is no safety risk to people on shore. However, the situation will continue to be monitored. Video obtained by Reuters showed fire cascading down from the deck of the ship into the water. The Jim Kingston reported on Friday and that it had encountered rough weather west of the Strait of Juan de Fuca. This is extremely concerning. The ship and containers are very close to Victoria, BC, and a big storm is forecast to hit tonight. We are worried this may be yet another environmental disaster, said David Baudina, president of the Friday Foundation Canada, an environmental organization. Econ Definitive Data shows the Maltese flag Jim Kingston is managed by Cyprus based Deneos Shipping Co. Ltd. That's all the news for today. Check this out at cnn.com for the latest news. I'm Diandra. Thank you for watching.
Okay, good. Yeah. Keep your practice. Next. One. Next. Alvareta.
Oh ya, Miss. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, viewers. Welcome to MTS and 7 News with me, Alvareta Mesa Halim, bringing you the latest news for today. Condition of Bali and tourists. Bali tourism is now starting to move along with declining trend of COVID-19 cases. In fact, Bali Governor Wayan Koster said the number of domestic tourist visits had increased. The increase in domestic tourists in Bali began to occur during PPKM Level 3 and Level 2. Koster noted that several weeks in September and October, the number of domestic tourists through Gusti Ngurah Rai International Airport reaches tens of thousands people every day. Likewise, through sea and land routes or through Gilimanuk Harbor, it reaches 10,000 people in a day. Koster said the increase in wisdom visit to Bali was inversely proportional to the COVID-19 case on the island of the Gods, or in Indonesia call it Pulau Dewata. According to him, the current COVID-19 case is in controlled category. Koster detailed that average daily COVID-19 case in Bali is below 50. The cure rate is above 90% and the death rate is below 5 cases. He hopes that all people in Bali obey the health protocols. This is for the sake of controlling infection case so that various international events that will be held in 2022 can take place without problems. That's all the news for today. Check this out, MTS and 7 News for the latest update. I'm Elpareta Salim. Thank you for watching and have a great day.
Okay, good. Yeah, next. This MTS and 7. Yes, okay, next.
Aku ya, Miss.
Okay, Amelia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, viewers. Welcome to MTSN 7 News channel. I'm Emilia Maulidia, and I'll be bringing you the latest news today. A blaze on the surface of the Gulf of Mexico that resembles a large eye of fire has been brought under control, according to Mexico's oil company Pemex. Orange flames erupted from below the surface and can be seen in videos that went viral on social media. The fire broke out at a short distance from a Pemex oil platform. In a statement, representative of Pemex said the fire, blamed on a gas leak from an underwater pipeline, began at 5:15 a.m. Friday, July 2nd, 2021, off the coast of Campeche. The fire, which was close to an oil platform, erupted at 10:45 a.m. local time. According to further investigation, it started after gas from a leaking underwater pipeline bubbled to the surface and was struck by lightning. Firefighting boats were sent to extinguish the fire by closing the pipeline's valve and injecting it with nitrogen substance. But eventually, the firefighters succeeded at putting the fire out after about 5 hours. Many people are wondering how can fire lit in water? Well, this is caused by a leak of gas, which results in oil leak. And as many of you know, water, gas, and oil doesn't mix. Pemex reported Monday that 5 people have died, 6 have been injured, and 2 are missing. That's all the news. I'm Emilia Maulidia. Thank you for watching and see you soon.
Okay, good. Okay, next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to MTSN 7 News with me, Valisa Yudia, bringing you the latest news report for today. The mall in Depok is not reopening. The government of Depok City, West Java has prohibited malls from reopening on account of the extension of level 4 community activity restriction in the city until August 16, 2021. As per the circular, supermarkets, mini markets, traditional markets, grocery stores, and supermarkets selling basic necessities can remain open until 8 p.m. local time, with operational capacity capped at 50%. Markets selling other goods can operate until 3 p.m. local time, with operational capacity limited to 50%. Small food vendors can remain open until 8 p.m. and are allowed to serve 3 customers at a time. As per the circular, customers can only remain at the stall for 20 minutes. Restaurants, cafes, and stores inside buildings can stay open until 9 p.m. local time, but have been only allowed to make deliveries or offer takeaways. A similar rule has been applied to restaurants, cafes, and stores inside malls. They can stay open until 8 p.m. local time provided they only offer deliveries or takeaways. The circular has prohibited them from accepting dine-in customers. Well, viewers, that's all the news for today. For more information, you can check our website at www.mtsn7.com. I'm Falisa Yudia. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.
Okay. Good. Next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Haris Patrakardansya and I will bring you latest news for today. The world's biggest economy should create a forum to facilitate global coordination for the next pandemic, as well as a new financing facility to keep up with emerging threats. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and Indonesian Finance Minister Sri Mulyani Indrawati said on Tuesday. In a letter to their G20 colleagues, the two finance ministers said the forum will allow health and finance ministers to better cooperate and coordinate prevention, detection, information sharing, and any needed response. A copy of that letter, dated Monday, was voted Tuesday by the Treasury Department. Yellen and Indrawati said the COVID-19 pandemic, which has killed nearly 5.2 million people around the world, had revealed a lack of readiness at the country level and a lack of coordination among G20 countries. Several independent organizations, including the high-level independent panel headed by former U.S. Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers, World Trade Organization Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and Singaporean Senior Minister Tharman Shanmugaratnam have called for creation of such a forum. Yellen and Indrawati said the forum will elevate and empower the work of the World Health Organization and other technical entities, but should include diverse voices and perspectives from around the world, such as African Union. They said a new financing facility could complement the resources of multilateral development banks and ensure sufficient, dedicated, reliable financing so that vaccination and treatment can keep up with emerging threats. That's it for today. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good. Next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. I'm Fatia Salma Pizza, bringing you the latest news. Jessica has long criminal record in Australia. Murder suspect Jessica Kumala Wongso posed with her friend Wayan Mirna Salihin in an undated photo. Former Jakarta Police Chief Inspector Dan Tito Karnavian revealed on Monday that based on reports from the Australian Federal Police, Jessica had a criminal record with 14 offenses and previously underwent psychological treatment in Australia. Kompas.com. Murder suspect Jessica Kumala Wongso has a long police record in Australia and underwent psychological treatment when she was studying down under. Former Jakarta Police Chief Tito Karnavian said on Monday. The Australian Federal Police AFP provided the Jakarta Police with relevant background information for Jessica, who has been named a suspect in the murder of Wayan Mirna Salihin, who died after drinking cyanide-tainted coffee. Tito said, "We cannot yet make the information public, but it includes a criminal record and a suicide attempt." He told journalists, refusing to give more details, as the Jakarta Police were bound by a mutual legal agreement with the AFP in case coordination. Jessica is the sole suspect in the murder case of her friend Mirna, who died after drinking a cyanide-tainted coffee at Oliver Cava, Central Jakarta in early January. That's all news for today. I'm Fatia Salma Pizza. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good. Next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. I am Finanela Iza. Will bring news today. Lately, heavy rainfall has often occurred and resulted including in Jakarta City, which resulted in dozens of houses and public facilities being flooded. There were no casualties as a result of this incident. Due to the high rainfall day and water has begun to reset, and access road to traffic can be opened with an open and closed system. Apart from Jakarta, other cities in Indonesia are also experiencing the same condition. Indonesia has high rainfall because it is caused by movement of the sun's circulation, which causes change in wind patterns, namely the west monsoon, which causes high rainfall. The average rainfall in Indonesia for each year is not the same. However, it is still quite a lot, an average of 2,000 to 3,000 millimeters years. Likewise, between one place and other, the average rainfall is not the same. High rainfall can also cause landslides. These landslides also often occur in the rainy season and often occur in high areas with steep slopes. But if there are a lot of stress, then the soil is not easy to move landslides. Therefore, reforestation in hilly areas, mountains, and around slopes in important hilly areas when heavy rainfall will not only cause landslides but can also lead to crop failure. That's all today's news. Thank you all.
Okay. Next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to MTS N7 News with me, Yantika Aisyahira. Singapore opens its door Indonesian tourists starting today. Tourists from 6 countries in Southeast Asia who were previously barred from entering Singapore, including Indonesia, will be allowed to enter the country starting today, Wednesday, 27 October. Singapore's Ministry of Health said all tourists, excluding short-term visitors with a 14-day travel history to Bangladesh, Nepal, India, Myanmar, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka would be allowed to enter or transit through the country. Singapore's Ministry of Health stated that tourists from Indonesia and Malaysia will continue to undergo a 10-day quarantine at the designated place of residence or accommodation, no longer in special facilities as before. Singapore classifies countries and territories into four categories based on their country's COVID-19 situation and risk profile with different border size for each category. And Indonesia is placed under category 3. That's all the news for today. I'm Yantika Aisyahira. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Langsung lanjut aja.
Okay, next. Sorry.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to MTS 7 News. With me, Galuh Pramatia, bringing you the latest news for today. 17M is up with 9th mini album Attacca. K-pop star 17 are back with their 9th mini album Attacca, their fourth major Korean language release in pandemic times, and they are more rock and roll than ever before. Part of their 2021 Power of Love project, which started with the release of Mingyu and Won's duets, Bittersweet in May and continued in June with their 8th mini album Your Choice. Attacca conjures up a different vision of love, spanning 6 tracks and a digital exclusive songs. The new project spins the group taking the full-on pop rock route. That's all the news for today. For more information, you can check our website at tenfolk.com. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good. Next. Anna? One, two, three. Next. Anna?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to MTSN 7 News with me, Hana. Bringing you the last news for today. David Amess is a British politician. He belongs to the same political group as the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. He died last week. Emmett is a cruise is Essex. He met his father's a man run in the cruise. He held a knife. He attacked Emmett's. Emmett's death is not possible to save his life. Police arrest the attacker. The man is 25 years old. He British. He comes from Somalia. Police say that is a terrorist attack. Another attack on a political has in a man killed a JOXOC. The British government says that it is important to keep politicians safe.
Jaring Ismada yang jelek atau Hanan? Hana? Hana? Oke, lanjut ya. Kita lanjutkan dulu Hana ya. Mungkin karena hujan ya di sana jaringannya jelek ya. Okay, we continue to Lana.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, viewers. Welcome to MTSN 7 News with me, Lana Farima Ayla, bringing you the latest news today. MiHoYo announced the closed beta for Honkai Star Rail, a turn-based science fiction RPG set in the universe of Honkai Impact III. 2021 has been a banner year for Chinese developer MiHoYo across both of its flagship and franchise. Honkai Impact III held a major collaboration earlier this year with iconic anime franchise Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Genshin Impact has exploded in popularity since its release last September. MiHoYo recently announced the developer's next title would be new venture into the Honkai universe, officially revealing the upcoming Honkai Star Rail. Honkai Impact III puts the player in command of the team of Valkyries, tasked with fighting off evil creature threatening to eradicate the Earth's population. MiHoYo and Honkai Impact III have featured multiple collaborations throughout the 2021, partnering with the previously mentioned Evangelion and even partnering with the company's other flagship title in Genshin Impact. Now, the Honkai universe will be receiving a new title with the different style of its predecessor. The official reveal trailer from Thursday show off the first looks player will have the characters and story of Honkai Star Rail. The trailer featured a variety of different environments and even seems to imply that the game will feature open exploration similar to Genshin Impact. The promotional website for Honkai Star Rail reveals the title will stray from MiHoYo's other game and will have the turn-based combat instead of the action RPG combat of Genshin and Honkai Impact III. Returning players from Honkai Impact III will recognize some familiar face in game's cast like Himeko and Will. The trailer also announced open signs up for the game ongoing closed beta testing, which began yesterday. Players looking to get in on the ground of floor of MiHoYo's newest space adventure will be given a brief survey that asks questions related to the player's experience with other mobile games and intended to playing the device. Some of the titles mentioned in the survey includes heavy emphasis on gacha games like Genshin Impact's Art Knight and Fire Emblem The Heroes, and seeming to imply that the Honkai Star Rail will feature a gacha system. MiHoYo has come under fire from fans of Genshin Impact in recent weeks from game's lackluster first anniversary reward and the company's response. And keys fans of popular RPG used the outrage to express discontent with some of the game's feature and the lack of a response from MiHoYo in this criticism. Some of the game angrier fans even bombed Genshin Impact and other apps, ranging from MiHoYo's other titles to completely unrelated ones like League of Legends, Wild Rift, and even Google Classroom. Despite from this, 2021 has been a widely lucrative year for MiHoYo, and the company hopes Honkai Star Rail will continue its streak of success. That's all the news for today. Check this out at mtsn7.com for the latest update. I'm Lana Farima Ayla. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam. Okay. Good. Next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to MTSN 7 News with me, Laifana Hidayat, bringing you the latest news for today. The leak of the national exam questions for the junior high school level, which was held on Wednesday, was make news for the implementation of this year's exam. Minister of Education Anies Baswedan said that the perpetrators of the leak as the exam questions have been investigated. He explained that the perpetrators of the leaks would be prosecuted according to the applicable articles. From the results of the verification carried out by Puspendik for the Education Assessment Center for Balitbang Kemdikbud, 30 booklets of 11,730 questions were found that were illegally uploaded to the internet. After receiving the report, the Minister of Education immediately coordinated with the Minister of Communication and Information to block links on Google containing the illegal content. Cooperation was also carried out with Google to block the content. It is suspected that the leak of the UN questions involved an individual from the State Printing Office who had been appointed to print all the national exam questions. An internal search was also carried out by the printing company to find out who was really behind this incident. The leak of the national exam questions is still a consideration for the Minister of Education whether to hold a re-examination or not. But most likely the exam will not be repeated. This is based on consideration concerning the value of the ghost-making questions. That's all the news for today. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good. Next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, viewers. Welcome to MTSN 7 News. With me, Muhammad Ananda Rafa, bringing you the latest news for today. The global economic recovery is in danger of stalling. The latest update of the Brookings Financial Times tracking indicates for the global economic recovery tiger show growth momentum weakening across the world, particularly in the two major engines of global growth, the US and China, amid persistent concern about the impact of Delta and newer variant of the coronavirus. Supply-side constraints are tightening and rising inflation is become a significant resistance on policy support that could keep growth on the track. Despite in energy price is a main of the problems created by supply disruption that could eventually hurt a great gas demand, particularly if central banks are forced to take more aggressive action to contain inflation. In many countries, particularly the emerging market and low-income economies, the 2020 recession continued to have scaring effects on GDP, and the employment of the U.S. company is at a difficult juncture, with uneven readings about the strength of both domestic demand and the labor market coming against the background of rising inflationary pressures. While an unemployment rate below 5% and labor shortage in some sectors signal labor market, China's overall job growth has been muted in recent months. Consumer demand has remained strong, but erosion in business and consumer confidence could spell a softening of demand. The two major spending bills before Congress are well in their aims of raising long-term productivity, but would boost demands and put further upward pressure on inflation in the short run. This, along with rising inflation expectation, could force the Fed's hand and a minimum lead to more aggressive tapering. That's all the news for today. Check out this news at www.brookingedu.com for the latest update. I'm Muhammad Ananda Rafa. Thank you for watching and have a great day.
Okay, good. Next. Fahri.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Welcome to MTS 7 News. I'm Fauzan. Singapore reported 3,277 new cases of COVID-19 on Tuesday, when 10 more people died from the virus. The fatalities were aged between 66 and 98, but one unvaccinated case. Ministry of Health did not specify what condition was. This brings Singapore death from the coronavirus to 339 cases. As of Tuesday, Singapore has reported total of 170,000 COVID-19 case starts. Ministry of Health said it has been working with hospitals to set aside more ICU beds for the COVID-19 patient. That's all news for today. I am Muhammad Fali Fauzan. Thank you.
Okay, good. Next. Ari Rizky Noya. Hanif.
Ya, Miss. Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to MTS 7 News. With me, Muhammad Hanif Akhtar Askari, bringing you the latest news for today. The world of motorcycle racing has a new hero. Fabio Quartararo has lifted the MotoGP World Championship trophy, becoming the first rider not to hail from Spain in a decade, and the first French champion full stop. Fabio came fourth in the weekend and Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, the season's second visit to Misano, but with title rival Francesco Bagnaia racing out from the race lead. Honors headed Quartararo away with 2 rounds still to go. Marc Marquez once again took the checkered flag, showing his comeback from injury is well on track. It was a disastrous day, tough congratulations pouring in from across the grid, the wider motorcycle racing world, and even from French President Emmanuel Macron. He takes the title with 5 wins and 10 podiums to his name in the 2021 season, and another pair of races with which to add to them. At just 22, it's fair to assume Fabio has at least another title or to stuff up his leather sleeve. That's the news for today. Check out this out at mtsn7.com for the latest update. I am Muhammad Hanif Akhtar Askari. Thank you for watching and have a great day.
Okay, good. Next.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to MTSN 7 News, with Karim bringing you the latest news for today. India plans to bid on companies such as Tesla, Samsung, and LG Energy Solution to invest in manufacturing batteries locally as it will with domestic supply chains for clean transportation. Citing Reuters, Wednesday, the 27th of the 10th month of the year 2021, India will host 5 roadshows starting next month in countries including the United States, Germany, France, South Korea, and Japan to set up battery manufacturers to prepare for local production. Tesla, LG Energy Solution, and Samsung are among those who will be invited to attend, although the list of delegates has yet to be confirmed. Other companies targeted include Northvolt, Panasonic, and Toshiba, while domestic players such as Reliance Industries, Adani Group, and Tata Group have shown interest. So far, there has been little enthusiasm from global companies. The move is part of a $2.4 billion incentive program to boost battery manufacturing, for which the Indian government has infinite investment proposals from companies. That's all the news for today. Check this out at mtsn7.com for the last update. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good. Next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to MTSN 7 News. With me, Muhammad Zidania Pratama, bringing you the latest news for today. Well, let's begin the news today. 11 students drowned, 10 rescued during school outing for river cleanup in Indonesia. Jakarta, 11 students drowned and 10 others were rescued during a school outing for a river cleanup in Indonesia, West Java province. Officials said on Saturday, October 16. Local officials said 150 students from an Islamic junior high school were participating in the cleanup on Friday along the banks of the Ciliwur River bank when 21 of them slipped into the water. The weather was good and there was no flash flood, said Deden Irwansyah, chief of the Bandung Search and Rescue Office. Two children who drowned were holding each other's hand. One of them slipped and the others followed. Irwansyah said. Nearby residents and a rescue team managed to save 10 of the students who were sent to a nearby hospital. According to AFP, 2 of the students were in critical condition. Rescuers used big orange inflatable raft to search for victims, and all students were accounted for when the search ended.
Ya, siap. Jaringan lagi ya, Jidan ya? Lag ya? Kita postpone dulu ya, Jidan ya. Sorry ya. Oke, next. Nadine?
They check this code at www.channelnewsasia.com for the latest update. I am Muhammad Zidania Pratama. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good. Next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to MTS 7 News with me, Nadine Adisa Priyangbudi, bringing you the latest news for today. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused crises in various countries around the world. The spread of COVID-19 throughout the world began with the report of the virus on December 31, 2019 in Wuhan, China. Mentioning the name COVID-19 is not stranger to our ears. Jakarta province has not yet been able to break away as the area that contributes the most COVID-19 cases in Indonesia. Yesterday, even Jakarta took the #1 position as province that contributed to the COVID-19 case in Indonesia. Although COVID-19 cases in the Jakarta area are still fluctuating, this is still a concern for all of us. On Sunday, October 24, 2021, there were 131 new cases of COVID-19 in Jakarta. Meanwhile, today there are 82 additional cases of COVID-19. With this addition, Jakarta is the area with the largest number of contributors to Indonesians' corona cases at #1. For self-healing cases, today there are an additional 166 recovered patients, while the previous day there were as many as 128 patients recovered. All the news for today. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam. Okay, good. Next. Next.
Assalamualaikum. Good morning, viewers. Welcome back. Welcome earthquake Indonesia once more. This time, 5,4 Richter skala tremor set up Cianjur. The earthquake happened on Saturday at around 40 4:30 p.m., said National. As per BMKG, the tremor was in a profundity of 5 km in 837 South Scope, 679 as longitude. The tremor, which happened toward the evening, made frenzy among the inhabitants. They were anxious about tidal wave which can be created by the quake. Fortunately, the apprehension did not happen. The tremor did not bring about a tidal wave on the ground that the quality was not sufficiently enormous, said BMKG. In any case, several homes were harmed and demolished by the tremor or earthquakes. On the other hand, so far, it's obscure whether there were fatalities or harm in the episode. That's all the news for today. Thank you for your watching and have a great day. See you next time.
Okay, good. Next. Naura? No. Okay. Raffi. Raffi?
Saya, Miss?
Yes. Because Naura is the competition.
Wait, Miss, wait. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to MTS 7 Jakarta News. With me, Raf Najib Ilham. Giant pandas no longer endangered, China says. What animal do you think of when you hear the term endangered species? If you answer the panda, you are not alone. That iconic black and white bear native to China is symbol of conservation for many people, even serving as the logo for the WWF since 1961. In July, Chinese officials announced that giant pandas are no longer considered endangered, just vulnerable. But it is still at risk. According to the IUCN, the most recent population survey estimates that panda numbers are resting at around 2,060 individuals. This new reclassification is another sign of hope for pandas, said WWF. Those efforts include captive breeding programs, restoring panda habitat, and the creation of 50 giant panda reserves in China. Many experts agree that the hard work has paid off. Although panda population remain vulnerable, there is reason for optimism. If that kind of cooperation continues, there could be more good news on the horizon for the species. Thank you.
Okay, good. Next.
Assalamualaikum, good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to MTSN 7 News. With me, Raffi Satrio for today. Millions of Muslims around the world this day began observing the holy period of Ramadan. amid a COVID-19 pandemic that's still drawing warnings among health officials. Ramadan, the ninth month of the Islamic calendar, is observed by Muslims worldwide by fasting uh, during daylight hours and observing an additional night of prayer at mosque. During the period, amid thousands of new cases daily in the United States, health experts say it may not be safe to celebrate the Ramadan holiday with friends and family as normal. Health officials also recommend keeping celebrations small when gathering for the sahur, iftar, and the tarawih. In this pandemic,
Sudah, Rafif? Oke, Rafif. Ya, good. Sebenarnya juga udah mulai nge-lag, sudah mulai hujan. It's getting rain. Oke, next. Raka.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to MTSN 7 News with me, Raka Pratama, bringing you the latest news today. MotoGP operator Dorna Sports Official announced on Thursday, October 8, that Mandalika Circuit in Central Lombok of West Nusa Tenggara, NTB, will host the world-class motor racing event on March 18 to March 20, 2022. The announcement was also welcomed by the Mandalika Grand Prix Association (MGPA) Director of Strategy and Communication Hepu Harinto. According to Harinto, this international event could boost the tourism sector in Indonesia. We will continue to improve ourselves from the first year to the next 10 years so that the Pertamina Mandalika International Street Circuit will become a circuit that presents world-class racing, Harinto said in a press release received by Tempo on Tuesday, October 7, 2021. Meanwhile, Managing Director of Dorna Sports, Carlos Espereta, responded to the finalized schedule. He expressed gratitude to the Indonesian government for being able to make this event happen. We'd like to thank the government of Indonesia and the Ministry of State-Owned Enterprise (SOE) for their efforts to make this event happen. Continuous support from the government is very necessary for the 2022 Indonesian MotoGP. We will finally race again in Indonesia in March next year, as Veleta said. The construction of Mandalika circuit has nearly reached 100%. The MGPA is still striving to improve the site to host the Asian Talent Cup and World SPK this season. That's all the news for today. Check this out at mtsn7.com for the latest update. I'm Raka Pratama. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good news. Next. Masya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. With me, Asyam from MTS7 News. I'm bringing you the latest news for today. The big match between Manchester United and Liverpool, which was held at the Old Trafford Stadium, Sunday, 24 October 2021. Big match was won by Liverpool. Mohamed Salah and friends scored 4 goals in the first half. Kane scored the opener in the 50 minutes, followed by Diego Jota in the 13 minutes, and Mohamed Salah scored 2 goals in the 38 and 50 minutes. In the second half, Mohamed Salah scored his third goal in the 50 minutes. 10 minutes later, Paul Pogba got a red card for his foul to Keita. The crushing defeat to the Liverpool made Manchester United fans very disappointed, and they expressed it by making the hashtag #AllOut. That's all the news from today. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello, Rizky, please.
Assalamualaikum. Good morning, viewers. Welcome to MTSN 7 News. I, Rizky Sitkinarendra, will be bringing you the latest news for today. Lombok has been hit by another series of earthquakes, including a mere 6.9 magnitude quake, which left one person dead and caused others to run out into the streets in panic. The latest tremors arrived 2 weeks after a 7 magnitude earthquake killed 460 people on the island and caused damage worth more than 5 trillion rupiah, or $268 million. Videos shot by the Indonesian Red Cross showed huge clouds of dust billowing from landslides on the slopes of Mount Rinjani in the northeast. I was in a restaurant when the shaking started. The lights went out. Everyone is still outside, not going back in, said Teddy Aditya, an official at Indonesia's Search and Rescue Agency in Lombok's capital. We are urging the public not to panic and to stay away from buildings and big trees. We are also urging them not to believe false information. One person died from a heart attack during the first major quake of 6.3 magnitude on Sunday, and nearly 100 houses near were severely damaged, according to the National Disaster Management Agency. It was followed 9 hours later by another major earthquake of magnitude 6.9, and at least 2 further aftershocks of magnitude 5.9 and 5.5. The most powerful quakes were felt as far as Bali, where foreign tourists rushed out of buildings in fear they might collapse, according to disaster agency spokesperson Sutopo Purwonugroho. That's all the news for today. Check this out at mtsn7.com for the latest update. I am Rizky Sitkinarendra. Thank you for watching and have a great day.
Okay, good. Next. Sabrina udah bisa masuk belum? Sabrina, are you here? Okay, next, Salma.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Salma Kamila. Now I want to bringing you the new news about vaccination in Indonesia. The United Kingdom is witnessing another soaring number of COVID-19 infections despite 70% of the population having been vaccinated. The Indonesian government therefore has warned everyone to stay alert and maintain their health protocol discipline, along with the accelerated vaccination drive. As of now, right now, some countries are witnessing interaction numbers of COVID 17 cases despite their high vaccination rates. This time in the UK, professional it also hit Russia and other European countries. The consistently remind us of the lingering threat, and we shall not be off guard even though we have it under control right now. Communication and Information Technology Minister Johnny G. Fed said. To date, more than 50,000 people have been recorded as positively infected in the UK, but the British government have also recorded that thanks to the high vaccination rate. According to our World in data, up to October 19, the vaccination scope in the UK had reached for 73% for the first shot and 67% for the second shot. The soaring cases, as shown in Russia and the UK, have proved that the pandemic is still far from over. Vaccination have been proven to be an important factor to suppress the death rate. Therefore, we must maintain the vaccination and health prologue people in the UK and previously in Israel, and the importance for maintaining alertness. The seemingly under control situation right now mustn't be the reason to let our guard down. This pulsing momentum should be the greatest opportunity for us to learn, evaluate, and maintain what has already worked for us, he said. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thanks for watching.
Next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome back with me to Muhammad Alif, who will give you actual and reliable news on news update. Accident of the Transjakarta hits Jakarta Monday, 25 October 2021 morning. It is suspected that the accident occurred because one of the Transjakarta bus drivers fell asleep. Allegedly, the rear driver fell asleep, so he hit the front, said the head of traffic police of the Metro Jaya Police, Kompol Eko Setio Budi Wahono, when confirmed Monday. Eko has not explained in detail the chronology of the two Transjakarta bus accidents. Eko said the driver of the Transjakarta bus that hit the bus in front of him was trapped. The driver of the vehicle behind was crushed, said Eko. The bus driver, who was
Okay. Yes. Stop dulu deh.